Go for it. That was crazy technique.
Come Sunday is the story of Carlton Pearson, a real-life Pentecostal preacher from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who was a protege of Oral Roberts and had a sort of crisis of faith, and after having a conversation with God, went in front of his megachurch congregation and declared that God had told him that hell does not exist and everyone is saved and that all are going to heaven, sinners and non-sinners, Christians and non-Christians, they will all be with God in the afterlife. It was not necessarily well received. I think what translates well to film about Carlton's story is that on the one hand, it's a very specific, very religious question, and on the other hand, it's a universal secular question as well, which is, does God punish us? Does God judge us? Is there a hell? Is there retribution for our actions? And does God love everyone equally? And I think in a time when there's a lot of judgment going on and a lot of distinctions being made and a lot of putting down of whole groups of people, whole countries, whole continents, it's an important question and an important thing to think about, which is it possible to love unconditionally, and why is that so challenging?
Was Carlton on set at all? Mm-hmm. And what did you learn from him?
Yeah, Carlton was on set the whole time, which is always a little bit intimidating because you're sort of reenacting parts of his life, but he was really, really helpful, and we had some of the best talks I've ever had my whole life. What really drew me to the whole idea is why the concept of inclusion in general is so challenging to the establishment of power. And this is the religious context, but we deal with it right now culturally. When like white males are told that they have to share a little bit, there's like a weird freak out. And so the whole movie was sort of a metaphor to me about this idea of there's not a winner. We're all on the same level playing field.
There's something really phenomenal about Carlton. I think everybody would agree with that. Like when I first met Carlton, energetically, there's really just something about this man. He's a really, really magnetic individual and a really compassionate individual. I remember when I first met him, I felt like I could just share, and he was really there to listen and really engage. And then even when we were doing research and we would look at clips from when he was preaching back in the day, it's there. Like there is really something about this individual that's very, very special.
And a question for all of you is, what do you think current leaders, religious, political, or otherwise, can learn from a story like Carlton's?
Tolerance, respect, love, treating people equally, not dismissing whole countries or continents as, I won't use the word, as dismissible. It seems like a very specific movie about a very specific man who went through this journey of preaching something in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then when you take a step back and you look at the movie, you realize, oh, this is really relevant today. There's a lot of hatred, a lot of preaching of hatred, a lot of differentiation. And my hope, I think all of our hopes, is that the movie will really resonate.
Mm. Yeah. And question structures and belief systems. And, you know, and there's nothing that is set in stone. We live in a revolutionary world. So, you know, just always think about, you know, coming from an honest place of, like, you know, their conventions and structures have their place, but laws may be broken.